Cuval, welcome back to the channel. My name is David. Today, we're going to be taking a look at kind of like, I guess, a what's in my camera bag video, but for the particular set of equipment that I use for live music photography and videography. As many of you have been following me on Instagram know, I have been working with a lot of musicians the last 10 months, and I have enough experience using this kit over the last 10 months where I feel comfortable enough to do a breakdown video and kind of go over the different use cases for each of the cameras and lenses in this kit. But before we get started, I just want to say Nikon did not sponsor this video. I bought everything with my hard-earned money, and my poor wallet is still in therapy 10 months later, recovering from such a traumatic experience in buying said equipment. But with that said, let's just jump into the video breakdown. My cameras of choice are two Nikon Z8s, which are incredible cameras. They're essentially Z9 cameras since they're using the same sensor and specs, but in a smaller, less expensive body. The 45 megapixel sensor gives me plenty of resolution to play with if I need to crop my images, which I often do, but I do it in camera, so my lenses become a bit longer when I just need a little bit of extra reach at the cost of resolution. However, it still produces 20 megapixel images in DX mode, so it's still very usable. Now, on the video side of things, these cameras can shoot 8K RAW internally, but that is a feature I don't use, not only just because it chews through your memory, but I also don't have a laptop that can handle that kind of video footage. So I just shoot everything in 4K, specifically in super sampled 4K at 24 frames a second in 10-bit 422, which gives me plenty of flexibility in post. Now, most of the venues I shoot in are also very dimly lit, so I prefer to shoot everything in Rec 709 over N-Log, so I don't have to worry about my video looking super grainy or if it was exposed correctly. It's just peace of mind, one less thing to worry about, and I could just focus on shooting the event. Now, that said, let's discuss what 3 lenses I use in these kind of gigs. My first lens isn't anything sexy, but it is my only zoom in this kit. That lens is the 24-70 f2.8. You've probably heard the saying a number of times that if you could only take one lens with you, it would be a 24-70. And honestly, that statement, as cliche as it is also very true. I mainly use this lens as a run and gun video lens because it lets me shoot everything from wide angle shot to short telephoto. So essentially it covers all my ranges with one lens. The 2.8 aperture is also fast enough for low light situations and can also blur the background in either the photo or the video, giving me a air quotes cinematic look. I also love using this lens to get some BTS photos of the band getting ready in the green room or just before they head onto stage, which I often prefer shooting on the wider side between 24 to 35 millimeters. Now, this lens does not have any type of image stabilization, but the Z8 does have really good IBIS, so I don't have to worry too much about camera shake when I'm shooting video or shooting at slower shutter speeds. Other than that, this lens is an awesome workhorse lens, and it is a lens I highly recommend everybody to have in their bag. I nicknamed this lens the bazooka lens. This 50mm 1.2 is unnecessarily large when compared to the other 50mm on the market. However, this lens does produce some amazing images and video. I mainly use this lens when I'm shooting in a venue that is extremely dark, as the fast 1.2 aperture maximizes my light gathering capabilities, which also helps keep my ISO on the lower side. 50mm is also tight enough to isolate the subject from the background. Images at 1.2 have a silky bokeh to them that make the subject pop from the image. The autofocus performance is also very reliable wide open, and I have no trouble getting sharp images with such a shallow depth of field. Like the 24-70, this lens isn't crazy sexy, but it is reliable, and that's what matters. Now, if we're talking about sexy focal lengths, the 135mm 1.8 is plena sexy. You see what I did there? I make funny things. Now, I elected to get this over the 70-200 because it's a 1.8, and if I need the reach, I can crop in camera and make it a 200mm. I often pack this lens alongside my 24-70 as it pairs better with it in most cases than the 50mm. 135mm is a fantastic range for live music. and it's long enough to shoot from the back of a venue like the Music Center here in LA. The lens also behaves more like an 85mm thanks to its close focusing capabilities, which let me be closer to the subject and still acquire focus. Autofocus at 1.8 is just as fast and reliable as the 50mm 1.2, and the images this lens produces are exquisite. I'd like to use this lens to capture some close-ups and facial expressions of the musicians when performing. I feel like these little details bring the images to life, as you can feel the intensity of the musicians performing, but also the music. Overall, this is probably my favorite lens ever. Like, it has been such a joy to use. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope you found this video helpful and kind of gives you an idea of what to look for when you're trying to put a kit together for either live music or whatever you're planning on shooting. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out on Instagram at DLOVisuals. And if you guys found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, double tap the dislike button twice. Trust me, it works. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, also, subscribe if you haven't already. I plan to post more videos like this pretty soon. Adios.